I am currently $420,000 in debt.
So she's bringing in about $750,000 in student loans.
How old are you and how much do you have in savings?
I'm 21 and I'm actually in a lot of debt.
All right, now, of course, we have to start off the new year with a classic video. We're going to be talking about credit card debt because especially with what we've seen this holiday season, even with people apparently barely being able to live paycheck to paycheck, we saw stores, shopping centers, malls, I mean, you name it, absolutely packed starting at Black Friday and not stopping till the end of the year. I've even seen TikToks from delivery drivers, I mean, UPS, FedEx, Amazon, amazed how many packages they had to deliver this season. So I can guarantee you we'll be seeing the average credit card debt per person in the US increase whenever they release the new stats. But for now, we're going to be talking about many forms of debt people are taking on, along with some of your comments from previous videos. So if you want to be featured on a future video, leave in the comments down below. But before we get started, I do want to say really quickly, because I've been seeing these comments a little bit more often on my videos. I know I was subscribed to you, I just had to resubscribe. So basically, since I started watching YouTube videos in 2009, this has been an issue where it doesn't really matter what niche of channels, it's happened all across the board, and I guess it's just never getting fixed. So if you were subscribed to me, maybe you have to double check and see if you actually are today. But we'll just get into the first clip, probably one of the biggest numbers we've seen on this channel.
Hey y'all, my name's Emily, and I'm coming on here because I'm going to be documenting my debt payoff plan. I am currently $420,000 in debt. It's a pretty gnarly number. Half of that number is my mortgage, so I promise I'm not super irresponsible. Still a little irresponsible, but not super. About a quarter of that is my student loans. About 10% of that is a car payment that I just bought. And the remainder is just general spending like Affirm payments and a credit card. I'm going to be using the avalanche debt payoff method in order to pay that off, which is just starting with the highest interest loan and working my way down. I'm going to be documenting it here on TikTok to hold myself accountable. I hope you'll follow along.
Okay, so we could go through a little bit of the numbers. Half of it we'll say is 210, like she said, with the mortgage taken off right there from her 420,000. And then her student loans are another 6 figures on top of that, which she said was another quarter. So that leaves another 100,000 for everything else. That's the car payment of a brand new car she just got and the credit card debt, the Affirm Afterpay. Buy now, pay later. I've talked about it many times, how bad that could be for people. And this has become a very popular video to make. If you watch a couple of these videos on your feed all the way through, or even a decent amount, you could just start swiping and seeing clip after clip of somebody saying the exact same thing. 5-6 figures worth of debt. I'm starting off my debt journey, you know, follow me. And it's just kind of a rinse and repeat. And what I've seen in some accounts, I'm not saying that's what's happening with this woman, but some people are uploading these videos strictly to gain some sort of following. Now, I believe you need 10,000 followers on TikTok to be able to start getting paid. And almost all of these videos end up doing very well. And you gain a lot of followers, get a lot of interaction. And what I think some people are doing is that they're trying to get paid by TikTok enough to start paying off their debts. And of course, these are the videos that get the most amount of views. But then when you start uploading videos after this showing more of the journey, they get less and less views and engagement. Maybe people stop following. It doesn't really go the creator's way and they kind of just stop uploading. I've also seen in some cases that they do a complete 180 and then start trying to sell you products off of the TikTok shop to be able to make money, I guess, to pay off the debt. So like I said, I don't think this is what this woman's doing. I've just seen that it's become a trend for some of the users that have no following whatsoever to use this to be able to gain a sizable audience and then hopefully start making money off of TikTok. So I would just be on the lookout. Maybe some of these accounts are actually trying to sell you something at the end of the day. But we have a comment from one of you guys. One of my cousins got married in the summer of 2020 and is in the process of divorce due to his ex's excessive spending. She kept asking for money for trips. This goes into the social media life now too, of course. He was taking out loans to fund these trips for her. That's insane. And she'd go off without him while he worked his ass off. Now, of course, there could be a couple things that could probably be said about this comment, but of course, one of the biggest contributing factors to divorce is debt, not being able to make enough money. Excessive spending will definitely put you in that situation, along with some other problems that they definitely had in the marriage. But going on vacations now is just unbelievably common for people that don't really have too much money.
I got my first comment today about how I am planning on traveling or I'm traveling, but I also am in debt. I have just under $31,000 in debt between credit card, taxes, car, student loan. And I'm just going to make one thing very clear. I'm going to live my life. I am going to take however much amount of money, whether it's $2,000 that I'm saving up, and put it towards travel versus putting it towards my debt. I'm going to do that. I'm 29 years old. I have no kids, no responsibilities aside from my bills, which I pay every month. I'm going to take my money and I'm going to go on vacation.
And this is very common with many younger people. Like she said, no responsibilities apparently other than paying bills, which she pays, except the $30,000 of debt she's in. And then I guess anything that's left over from the current bills that she's paying just goes right into a vacation. And then the excuse is always, oh, I'll make more money when I'm older somehow. And I guess that'll outpace all the interest accruing to the current debts that you have. And then you'll just be able to live happily ever after, I guess. We have a comment from you that I think goes well with both the previous clip and the next clip. These are the same people that will be complaining about having no retirement funds in 30 years. I don't know how people around my age don't see the writing on the wall when we're talking about boomers right now who are around the retirement age struggling to be able to survive when we're in way worse of a situation right now. I mean, just getting out of high school, 18 to like even the millennials, 35, 40 years old, 45. It'll be way harder for us to be able to retire. So just blowing all of your money while also being irresponsible and in debt already kind of just sets you on a life path that you can't really change after a while. And we'll talk about that in a future video with older generations talking about their financial issues around the retirement age.
How old are you and how much do you have in savings?
I'm 21 and I'm actually in a lot of debt because I just went traveling.
Did you spend all your money in travels or was it other things as well?
Travel, buying a car, all different things, yeah.
And have you ever wanted to save up for something in particular?
Yes, yeah. Buying a house on the northern beaches.
Do you think it's within reach?
Not so much at the moment, but I'm trusting God in my finances. So.
Okay, that's fair, fair. And so what do you think you're going to have to do to have to save up for that?
Probably invest, hey. Probably invest my money, yeah.
So I don't know about you, but I don't think God's going to be sending you envelopes full of cash when you basically don't really have a plan other than, oh, I should probably invest. You could tell the way that she wasn't serious about really anything other than traveling and being in debt in this clip, that especially for somebody in Australia where the housing market, you think any of the stuff in the US is bad. Oh, you are basically screwed over there. There's no chance you're going to be able to just fall into a situation where you could be able to pay for the normal American type dream. I mean, Australians have the same thing. The house, the car, the family, the dog, without having very serious financial planning for your future. And I know people right off the bat will start saying, the experience of having vacations, I'd rather do that than have a whole bunch of money on my deathbed. And I'm not saying you're supposed to absolutely hoard every single penny that you make in your entire life, but when you already put yourself in a financial situation where you have 5 or 6 figures worth of debt, adding on top of the fact that my generation's going to have even more of a difficult time to just have what boomers and Gen X had, working a normal factory or 9-to-5 job back then. Once we start hitting the 50s and 60s, there's going to be no chance that you'd be able to retire and have a normal, chill life and be able to do whatever you want until you finally pass away. So I mean, I'm making these videos to hopefully open some people's eyes and at least try to start saving some sort of money, paying off the debt, because the interest rates are brutal and you will be in that cycle forever. Now I know I feel like I've gotten pretty serious already. We have one that is kind of funny, maybe lighten the mood a little bit.
All right, if you're in debt, guys, don't worry. I have 2 solutions. One, get your life together and pay it. Or you can dance. I think I'm gonna go with dance.
I think that's all the audio that I could play right now without getting copyrighted, but I did think that was kind of funny. Some of the comments are pretty rough to see though. $425,000. Sorry, government, I danced it away. Oh man, could you imagine having almost $500,000 in debt? I hope it's like all of it is basically just a mortgage and not some sort of credit card debt or something like that, or a car payment. Did you spend $175,000 on dance classes because you're killing it? If anybody has $182,000 I could borrow, that'd be lovely. That's actually from the creator. I didn't even see that the first time. I just realized I've been talking for a while and I have so many clips to go over. I don't think we're gonna be able to get through all of them.
So I recently got married. I've been with my now wife for about 10 years. She's going to graduate dental school in May. She's bringing in about $750,000 in student loans. Other than that, she's got a yeah.
I'm sorry, what is her degree?
Um,
What did she go with $750,000 in debt for?
Dentist.
Oh, Jesus, Murphy.
Yeah, it's a good school, but it's expensive.
You have
I
no
got
idea what you just said.
yeah. Yeah, I've got about 40,000 in debt from what seems like you guys call normal debt, credit cards, car, stuff like that. I mean, she's gonna make good money, but it's just I can't see the light at the end of the tunnel. It's how do we dig ourselves out of that hole?
Okay, so I wanted to put in this clip because I do have a little bit more experience. On top of a previous video, we did do a little research. I think the average amount of debt for dental school, like all said and done, I think was around $400,000. So 750, way over it. And I know everybody makes the excuse that apparently as soon as you walk out of dental school, you're immediately making $200,000 a year, which just is not the case because one of my friends is actually doing the exact same thing, being a dentist, and he's worked at a dental office even before going into dental school. And I mean, unfortunately, the amount of time and effort it would take to start making that money, maybe starting your own practice, he was actively being told by the dentist to go into some sort of other degree because the amount of time it actually takes to start really making that kind of money on top of paying off all of your debts and then being able to live that, upper class lifestyle is such a long way down the road, on top of going to dental school, which is already on top of getting a bachelor's degree at a 4-year university. The amount of time, man. I mean, I guess you could turn into someone like this. They're finally out of it. They got all their degrees. They're ready to go. And in total, as a couple, they're in $800,000 worth of debt. It just really doesn't seem worth it to me, honestly, unless you, for some reason, have a passion in cleaning teeth, even though I think it's widely known that one of the most hated jobs is being a dentist, because who ever wants to go to the dentist? It's never a good time. But we'll transition into probably one of the dumbest ones, at least in my opinion, for this entire video.
Here's a guy who actually spends money on OnlyFans subscriptions, because you probably don't know a single one, at least to your knowledge. He asked me to keep it anonymous. I'm not gonna make it anonymous. His name is Jarrett Rose. First of all, his income is $65K, but his budget is $78K. He's got credit card debt, but he's got no choices. So of course he's gotta pay taxes, and of course he's gotta pay rent, but with that credit card bill, looks like you're being evicted soon, buddy. So last year, OnlyFans made $5 billion. 5 with a B. Billion. And you might be wondering, who is spending $5 billion on OnlyFans? Well, there you have it. Here's one example of a dude, because clearly he doesn't go outside. Let's say that the average OnlyFans subscription is about $10 a month. We're looking at $120 a year. This dude spends $24K, so $240,000 divided by $120,000. We're looking at 200 different girls or guys. I'm not judging. I hope the custom content requests are making your heart warm, man.
We got to look at the comments before I talk about it. $24,000 on a $65,000 salary is crazy. That's insane. A girlfriend is cheaper. It legitimately is, honestly. And Twitter is free, man. Now, that's what I was going to say. I know all of us have probably heard how bad this is to watch. Completely unrealistic expectations for normal, real life interaction. So you consuming this for hours on end, spending almost $25,000 a year on girls, a girlfriend would never be able to compete with that, and you're basically frying your brain for the rest of your life. If you really did want to watch those videos, we are on the internet. You could look up whatever you want at a click of a button for free. I know it, you could find whatever you want. It does not matter. And you don't have to pay a single penny. So spending all of this money is probably the stupidest form of debt that I've seen in this entire series. I really don't get some people. And of course, a majority of the OF stuff is, of course, guys. It's just absolutely the dumbest spending. Here we have another comment from one of you guys. Man, I really hope that Klarna IPOs soon. They're saying they're trying to get into the stock market, and it just seems like a money printer. People just don't understand that it's a credit card and no different. Yet they treat it like it is and spend more for some reason. It's got to be a psychological thing when you could buy, you know, something that's $100 online and then you see 4 easy payments of $25. There's got to be something that switches and they'll believe that it's only $25. You know, it's way cheaper, or I could buy even more stuff. There's no interest. But all you got to do is miss one single payment and then you start the snowball. And if you did that because you bought 4 times the amount of stuff that you probably should have, because you put them in payments and then you ended up just consuming even more, you could most likely get into even higher amounts of debt compared to a normal credit card. But we're going to transition into a couple clips that I've seen about bankruptcy. It's just unbelievable to me.
I got approved for a credit card 4 days after my bankruptcy discharged. All the paperwork I received from credit card offers and everything, which I was very, very selective on which one I took. I made sure I took one with a decent interest rate, you know, less than 36%, which is pretty much what everybody was offering. It's like 0%, whatever, it doesn't matter. But for your question, it was after I discharged and it was 4 days after.
So this is somebody who went bankrupt, and just from that clip seems like she will end up going back into debt again. Apparently, you could find some sort of credit card just days after. So that's how we see all of these crazy stories that seem unreal on TikTok or social media, where somebody's just been in cycles of debt for years and years, going bankrupt and doing it over and over again, because apparently you could go and just start racking it up again less than a week out of bankruptcy. But from what she said with the credit cards trying to justify it, saying that she found something that was less than 36% interest, what she's thinking in her mind is that she could go back into debt again. So she was trying to find the lowest amount of interest. Honestly, I don't care if any of my credit cards, they could have 1,000% interest. I have never missed a payment and never even think of spending more money than I should have, so the interest doesn't really bother me. But her thinking about the interest rates a week after being bankrupt, she's still in the same mindset of she's probably going to spend more money than she earns, which then will bring her back into the cycle, and she'll be doing this for the rest of her life.
This is what I've been saying, people. It's like nobody believes me. It's like you don't even believe that I've been a lawyer for 27 years. Yes, you can buy cars. Yes, you can do the things. Bankruptcy is a way out of hell.
So again, I don't know if that clip will get copyrighted. She was speaking over it, but there was a couple things. We filed 3 weeks ago and already have a new car. So on top of the less than a week it took to get a credit card, I guess you could just start buying brand new cars as well. And this woman was happy about it. Like, it's just the easiest reset button. There are no consequences, no ramifications. And something that I also thought was interesting was the sound that she used. So a couple months ago when I made an I'm Just a Girl video talking about how detrimental that could be, of course, for women in debt, justifying crazy purchases, or just really belittling the entire gender as if they're not able to be financially responsible just because they're a woman. And she used the sound, the I'm Just a Girl trend sound, under this clip talking about buying a brand new car right after they were bankrupt. So I mean, it just perpetuates the stereotype and just makes everybody look even worse. Some of the comments as well are crazy. We just got a new car during our Chapter 7 bankruptcy, right after we filed, but before it was discharged. We filed in February this year. Everything was finished in June. Best decision ever. We kept our house and cars. It's a fresh start. No accountability whatsoever. It really does end up being pretty frustrating to me, but we have a comment that is more level-headed. What I've learned as an adult who has to manage and spend money, that even if you see others with more luxury items, they're probably in so much debt owning those things. I'm content with being average. I know that people who are very, very legitimately wealthy don't really want to show it because it almost puts a target on their back. So when we see people in head-to-toe luxury, most likely they're just putting on a show for other people. And of course, because of social media, the more rich you look in a clip or a video or a photo, the more views you get. So you just ante up. Every single creator trying to outdo the other ones and then keeping up with the Joneses, and just makes everybody poor in the end.
I'm 22 years old and I have $37,515 worth of credit debt. I also have a $7,992 student loan. I also still owe $55,829 on my car. In total, I have about $100,000 worth of debt. If you're anything like me, you haven't made any credit card payments in over 6 months. You have creditors calling you every single day.
Now, the comment section is a bit different than what I've seen on most of these clips. I think it's because of how expensive the car was and how young she actually is, on top of not paying for 6 months. So the interest rates, oh man, those banks are cooking right now. Because honestly, the comment section is not very nice. What do you need a $50,000 car for? A 55 on a car? Student loans being the cheapest is so baffling to me. Honestly, that comment is 100% right. Most of the time, it's a mortgage and student loans that really explode the debt counter on most people's situations, but it's the exact opposite with this one. This might be the product of absolute stupidity because how? I mean, people are not nice. And we have another comment from you with another young person. As a dumb 19-year-old, I signed up for a TJ Maxx credit card. When I asked the cashier if it was a credit card, she kept saying it was a member's card. And I went with it. After I realized it was a credit card, I paid it off, cut it up, and never looked at it again. And the account was eventually closed. And that's how maybe you could get suckered into the beginning of credit card debt, because I think I've used this example before, but I know Best Buy has a credit card, and it's very easy to walk into Best Buy and buy a couple electronics and spend a ton of money. So they have some sort of promotion where if you sign up for the credit card, you use the Best Buy credit card, you could get 10% off this purchase. And it actually brings many people in because they could save some money. But in the same way, like we've seen with the previous clips, if you don't pay it off, especially for 6 months, like the last one, you saving maybe $100 or $200 on your first purchase won't outweigh the interest payments in the long run.
I'm going to talk to you about everything that I had to pay, what my payment is, etc. So for a 2024 Tesla Model Y, our out of the door total was around $44,000. We got the $7,500 EV tax credit at the point of sale. When you see that on the website, think of it as a coupon. When you go to the store and you get a coupon, you get that discount. That EV credit is at the point of sale if I think you make under $150,000 a year or $300 as a couple. So it was around $44,000 that I financed. We both did an 84-month loan. We got a 3.99 interest rate, and our payment was, I think mine is $607 and his like $602. And we did 0 down. And that is what made sense for us. For you, you might want to do a bigger down payment.
Yeah, I'd say a down payment would be nice. Even with the very low interest rate, at least in comparison to right now, 4%, financing for 84 months is still $600 a month because you didn't put anything down. And I don't know if they got 2 of these because she said hers was 602 and her husband's was 607. So did they get 2 Model Ys? Because I don't think that this thing is $1,200 a month. That would be absolutely unbelievable for a $44,000 car. So I'm guessing they had to have gotten 2 of them. But we could look at some of the comments, and the first one I actually do really agree with now. I would lease an electric car. Technology is changing too fast to be stuck in an obsolete car at the end of the loan, especially at 84 months. I know we've talked about the car market a million times, especially the EV market is taking a hit right now because it's not nearly as cool as it was 3 years ago. And on top of it, the technology really is changing. Even with the most popular electric cars, of course, the Teslas, compared to like any of the Fords or Chevy electric cars that have really, really bad resale value. If you look at older Teslas that have the older technology, the older battery, not as good range, you could still get them on the secondhand market for very cheap. So who's to say that in 84 months, when they're finally done with this loan, technology advanced even more and maybe they do 500 or 600 miles worth of range or something along the lines of that and blows out of the water anything that's coming out today. So you spending $600 a month for 84 months just to try to roll it into another car or just sell it on your own, and it would be worth virtually nothing. So if you really do want these types of cars, I actually think that leasing it would probably be the way. I know it's just renting the car, but with how fast the technology has been changing, it is kind of a dangerous game now to have some sort of EV, even if it's only 5 years old. Here we have another comment, 84 months is crazy work for a car loan. You'll still be upside down after 5 years of payment. Are we really trying to normalize 72 to 84 months car loans? And that's exactly what dealerships are trying to do. That's honestly what everybody was saying in the comment section. 84-month loan, that's way too long. At least in comparison, if you did watch any of the car payment videos, $600 is pretty low compared to some people who are paying 4 figures. I mean, $2,000 a month, absolutely nuts. But over the long run, $600 a month for 84 months is still nothing that I want to mess with.
I get asked literally all the time how the hell I was able to accumulate $50,000 of credit card debt in like a 6-year span. But I was very naive with the fact of I know I was going to be making more money, right? I was 18 years old, got my first job as a dental assistant, making $28,000 a year. But I was obviously spending way above my means. So when I got into $50,000 of debt, this was not like over a 1-2 year span. No, it started off small. My very first credit card, the limit was only like $250, right? And then as you start using it, they start to give you more credit. And then as you start to get more credit, you're like, oh, this is cool. Let me get another card. Oh, this one's got a cash back card. Let me get another card. And the next thing I knew, I had like 4 credit cards. I had like a Victoria's Secret card. I had an Amazon card. Like I had all these cards, okay? And I kept telling myself, I know I'm going to be making more money. I know I'm going to be making $100,000 a year. When I make more money, I'm going to pay these off. When I make more money, like I'm already going to live my life the way as if I was already making that kind of money, because I just knew it was inevitable for me. But what I did not realize is the more money I started to make, it didn't matter. That is when the big amounts of debt came in. I didn't have 50 grand of debt when I was 19, making $28,000 a year. No, when I started making over $100,000 a year was when it started to pile on so freaking fast.
So there you go, the definition of lifestyle creep. While you were already in debt at the beginning, only making the $28,000 a year and making that promise to yourself when you did hit 6 figures that all the debt would just be paid off, it's most likely not going to happen. It's actually just going to get worse. Here we have a string of comments that go well with the next bunch of clips. I will never understand why people are essentially bragging about being in debt on social media. How embarrassing. And then the reply, I think part of it is them trying to recoup the cost either through sympathy or some sort of brand deals. Now we're starting to see it a little bit more. Another reply, are you new to 2024? People film all sorts of L's to put it online. Attention is a drug. So we could go real quick to this user who does a budgeting paycheck type of series on her TikTok.
It's Friday, my husband got paid, so let's budget our paycheck. This week, he barely got anything. He got $1,074.21.
So she has gotten a little heat in the comment section for the way that she speaks about her paychecks and her husband's paychecks. You know, our paycheck is crazy. Our paycheck is so toxic. So what did you make? I mean, this wasn't really the reason why I put this in the video. You could come to your own conclusions and your own opinions, but she has this sort of financial series of her getting out of debt and making the payments and budgeting. But unfortunately, what I said at the beginning of the video has started to happen, where she got enough money where she was making some off of TikTok and then started getting a whole bunch of the products to try to sell to you to make those commissions, the affiliates, and be able to make more money. And some of the consequences of doing that she put in this video.
Make the same mistake that I did. I just barely got accepted into TikTok Shop, and I was so excited about all the free samples and all of that I got a little too ahead of myself, and I started just clicking things that like, I was like, that's cool, that's like something I want. Except I don't want to showcase this one. And let me show you why. Let's open it up. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it. It just doesn't go with my niche at all. It doesn't go along with what I want to post about. So, a women's electric shaver. So, I will try it out, and then I'll let you know. Like, I just thought this was like, I was like, dang, this is so cool, da-di-da-di-da. And I don't want to showcase this, but here we are. I'll test it out.
So this was the kind of stuff that I was afraid of, because now she's starting to just try to sell products to be able to make a little bit more money to her viewers, where she doesn't even want to do it. It doesn't relate to any of what she does on her channel at all, but she's still going to try to sell it to you. And I know the sponsored post or like in-video ads is kind of a touchy subject right now. At least for me, it's got to be some sort of product that the creator legitimately uses or could be a benefit to their audience in some sort of way, at least. But I do know that some creators, that's basically how they make a living, because maybe their YouTube videos aren't monetizable, they're not family friendly, so the only way that they're actually getting money is through those in-video sponsors. And I guess in a way I do understand, but that's why I haven't taken any sponsorships yet on this channel. I legitimately want it to be related to the content that I make or something that I actually use, and that's why I've talked about before actually using some of the sponsored stuff without being sponsored, like the VPNs, like Rocket Money or Delete Me, even though that's probably pretty bad business on my side side because I'm basically giving them a shout out for free, but I don't like seeing a lot of the finance videos that circle around debt and them trying to get out of it, gaining an audience that have similar issues, and then you kind of just turn around and start selling them random products that have nothing to do with your page.
I was in major credit card debt, about $62,000 to my credit card, and this was when I was working 9 to 5. I was so living above my means. I was driving the cars that I couldn't afford. I was buying the things that I couldn't afford, and I would just put it on a credit card because I thought it was like free money. Absolutely no idea what it meant by budgeting, financial means, saving for the future. All of that just went out my head. And while I was in college, I was so confused. I was racking up all of these student loans debt, and I just thought, oh, future me can worry about it. This resulted me in depression, anxiety, and towards my 20s, I had to rebuild this entire life around money and heal my money traumas.
So this is another very similar situation to the woman who is the dental assistant. Now, even though we're seeing stories of people getting into pretty bad debt and having their life kind of revolve around it from now on, I hope that at least some people, especially the younger generations who are on TikTok the most, could see this and hopefully dodge a bullet in their life seeing how bad some people have messed up and hopefully not make the same mistakes. Because honestly, that's the exact reason why I upload these videos, seeing how crazy some of these stories could get so you could steer clear of any of these issues, or at least give you motivation to dig yourself out of the hole. So that's all I got for you guys today. I don't want to make this video way too long. It seems like it's already going to be pretty long anyway, but let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video popping up on screen right now, but hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, and I'll talk to you guys later.